So for this video, I have my laptop with me. Usually I would be working off my Post-it notes, but don't get me wrong, they're still here. I'm still me. I haven't changed that much. It's just, I started making notes for this video and I started making them on my Post-it notes. And I quickly realized I was going to use up so many of my beloved, trusty, much needed Post-it notes because I started writing down my favorite authors. And the list just kept going and going. And honestly, if I'd had a set of those like pop-up Post-it notes, I could have gone for days, probably decorated our house for Christmas in February, and it just would have been a whole thing. So I turned to my computer and started making these notes and quickly also realized, besides wasting paper, that I was really going to have to narrow it down because I was already way over 10 authors. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so many. How can I say that all of these authors are my favorite authors? But it is true. They all are, for one reason or another, what I would consider a favorite. And I think that's probably where I need to land with the definition of favorite, because you could ask me next month and I would be like, oh no, none of those authors are my favorite. It's actually these authors. Like, oh, Jane Austen, yes. Stephen King, nah, last month, whatever. Because I'm a mood reader. So, if you're a mood reader, you get it. And if you're not a mood reader, I don't know, do we even make sense to you? I don't know, tell me in the comments. But so I'm going to be referring today off my computer for my notes because Lord knows, I got started and I just keep going and going and going and going. So who knows where we're going to end up with this, but here we are. So at least we know where we're starting from, and where we are starting from is Danica Dark. So I would say that Danica Dark probably is a top three, probably favorite paranormal romance, PNR, or urban fantasy. Some people say UF, or even, I guess now I've seen like urban romantasy. So anyway, I think you can probably get the vibe. There are several series by her already out. I'd say my favorite out of her series are top favorite, as of today at least, is the 7 series. Crossbreed is probably the next, and then I don't know though, because kind of like moving up there book by book is the latest series she's working on, which is the Black Arrowhead series. That one honestly reminds me a lot of 7. Just it's kind of revolves more around a wolf pack, and so that like found family community vibe that I tend to like, that I tend to write as well, is much more prevalent, I would say. And so I think that's probably why it's scooting up in the ranks as far as Danica Dark goes. So Danica Dark, instant buy, pre-order when available, like all the things. I only do the Kindle books. I don't have any of the hard copies. I haven't done any of the audiobooks. It's kind of it. I don't usually do audiobooks anyway. No hate on anybody who does. I just can't focus and pay attention and like read that way. It doesn't work for my brain. I'm off into a completely different land when I'm trying to do that. So, but I don't have any of the hard copy books. It kind of is, it depends on like how I'm reading, where I'm buying, that kind of thing. And just for hers, I never have. I don't know why. I feel like at this point, as far up as I would put her in terms of like favorite modern authors, I probably should. So I don't know, maybe my birthday's coming up. Maybe it'll go on my wish list. Let's talk about some more modern authors. I'm going to scoot away from Danica Dark to Autumn Jones Lake. Autumn Jones Lake, I love, again, instant buy, all of her books, pre-order, get it right away, read it right away usually as well. Right now she is, I think, 26 books deep into the Lost Kings MC series. There are also a couple of other series that she has aside from that. Some overlap in terms of her universe, which Danica Dark does as well. I really, really love when there's overlap in the universe. I do that in my stuff as well, just because I think it's so fun. Little Easter eggs for my readers who've read everything. But a lot of her stuff, even in the Lost Kings series, she does mark as whether or not they can be read standalone, which is super helpful if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't read 26 books right now. Look at all these other books I have. So I would say my favorite, and I actually just recently talked about them on Valentine's Day. I was talking about kind of like romance reimagined sort of stuff. I would say like current favorite out of that, and again, it's going to change all the time, but would be, I think they are the last 3, 24, 25, and 26, which are deal with the story of Jigsaw, Jiggy, and Margot. There are so many reasons why I love their story, but just they both are a little bit dark and twisty. I'm a little bit dark and twisty. And so yeah, it really struck me, really hit me. Like their story just hit me like so hard and so warm and snuggly and yummy. I loved it. So anyway, yes, these are definitely like a little bit of a higher steam factor. No problems here. But if you have an issue with that, then maybe not so much for you. But yeah, definitely check her stuff out. Like I said, you can go and find some of the standalone stuff there. Um, Also, if you are looking for a 26 book binge, I mean, get on it because you've got time to catch up here. Another modern one, let me keep with that, is A.L. Jackson. So whenever I need a totally predictable romance, I go to A.L. Jackson. And I feel like I've talked about her stuff recently. Ooh, maybe it was also. Oh no, no, I think it was books I'm excited about coming out because one of the books in the Moonlit Ridge series is due out soon, I think. And yeah, they usually a damaged hero, sometimes a damaged heroine. A lot of times her books do have kid characters, so if that's something you're like less into reading, like kind of like, younger, especially like kind of cutesy voice still kids, maybe not so much for you. And definitely super predictable. I mean, like down to the percentage in your Kindle, you can be like, oh, I know what's going to happen at 32% or whatever. But I love them. Very lyrical way of writing, which I really dig. And a lot of time there's like, it's like friend groups or family. So there's another, a found family thing is like a super common theme for all of my interests when it comes to reading. And another modern one who I would say yeah, is an instant buy for me is Carrie and Cole. Her books don't come out as frequently. Like somebody like A.L. Jackson, you're going to get 3, 4, 5 books a year. Carrie and Cole, it's more like, once every few years, but very well worth the wait, in my opinion. One thing I will say about her stuff is, and I like this, but you may not, her stuff tends to have some sort of taboo element to it. A lot of times it's like an age gap, sometimes it's something else. But I would say probably, current favorite, I really, really liked Torn. But I would say right now, probably it's Don't Kiss the Bride. That one I thought was like really cute and had some stuff that I could kind of like relate to in it. So I think that one like sort of tugged at my heartstrings the most. But I think the most recent release was actually The Lovely Return. Taboo stuff in that one too, but I don't want to spoil it for you. If you're interested, go read the blurb on that one because it is whoa so out there. And then yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about some non-romancy folks. Stephen King. I mean, okay, it's a horror gimme. Like you've heard me talk about horror, then you know. But I actually enjoy all of his work. Like, I mean, we're talking about across Dark Tower for sure. Dark Tower series, yes, yes, yes. Bill Hodges trilogy, really, really liked those. In fact, as one of the other things I do is I'm a software engineer, and so the third book in that trilogy was kind of a lot of fun for me. But I mean, Stephen King, I feel like I don't have to recommend to you. Like it's like you like it or you don't, or you've never tried it. So there you go, give it a try. But I think probably, well, I know for certain the first like grown up horror book I ever read was The Shining. And so I would say that one probably still has like the nearest dearest place in my heart, just because I was a little kid, y'all. I probably was too young to be reading The Shining, but my parents were happy that I was reading. So it was just any book that I got in my hands. It was like, yay, a bigger book, great. And so I was probably a little bit young, but because of that, honestly, I felt so seen by the Danny character in that book. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, this kid knows my fears. And like as a grown up, realizing what a gift that is as a writer to be able to craft something that, I mean, you are a literal grown up who is connecting with a kiddo. Ooh, that sounds creepy. Not like that. I mean, like being able to evoke those feelings of fear and like, yes, I understand that fear. I mean, just it was really, really, as a kid, I felt so seen. And as a grown up, I realized what a skill that is. And so, yeah, I could go on about Stephen King. I don't, but I think like, yeah, if you haven't read any of his stuff, I would say pick one, close your eyes and point, go for it. And if you have, then let me know what your favorite is, because I always like to talk about Stephen King. Probably going to get a Dark Tower tattoo at some point. And I think I know what, I just don't know where. Anyway, moving on. Liane Moriarty. Okay. So this is one of those ones where I meant that like my definition of favorite is a little bit because I do have to classify her as one of my favorites, but I think it's simply because I've read all of her books. And so as I was putting this video together, I realized that my husband and I kind of have this same phenomenon as far as hotels go. Because like if I were just classifying on the number of times I've stayed at a place, our favorite hotel would have to be the Cabana Bay Resort at Universal Orlando because it's close to where we are. It's super convenient if we want to go over and like spend a whole night at the parks. Like we want to be there super early for some reason or super late for some reason. And it's usually super affordable for us. And so we have ended up there. I mean, we've probably honestly, I feel like I'd be embarrassed to try to count the number of times we've stayed at that hotel. But it's not necessarily my favorite hotel I've ever been to, right? Like it has been in my life many a time, but I would not classify as like, oh, the very top. I mean, like we are lucky to have stayed in some really gorgeous places traveling for work and thankfully traveling for ourselves as well. And it just, yeah, it's like, I'm hoping that makes sense. Favorite, but like not most luxurious, not most unique, not most fascinating. Just, I know I'm going to love this book, period, end of discussion. It doesn't need to blow all the other books out of the water. That's very much where I classify her stuff for me, which is not to say that I don't love them. I love them. It's just one of those things where if you put it in a stack with 20 other authors I love, it probably wouldn't be my first. She probably wouldn't, her books wouldn't be my first pick. I hope I'm making some sort of sense to you. Anyway, let's move on. Oh no. And my computer has gone to sleep. There we go. Okay. Going back to horror. I'm shifting back to horror. It's very me. Stephen Graham Jones. Definitely always an instant buy from me, but a newer one because I think I encountered his work for the first time maybe 2 years ago now. And I am definitely still this author, huge back catalog of so many different things. So I'm still working my way through. The Indian Lake trilogy was, I am not sure that was my first, but it definitely was my favorite. However, that recently was replaced by I Was a Teenage Slasher. I just feel like, I don't know, if you're into horror, especially like slasher stuff, you kind of are a part of that fandom and the jokes are going to land for you, or the references, like pop culture kind of trivia references, are going to land for you. Super easy to read, good horror fun, totally gives me like the warm feelings I used to get when I was reading horror stories as a kid, like that sort of like I'm safe and I'm cozy in my real life, but like, oh, I'm tiptoeing into like deep dark secrets in this book. Very much those kind of vibes. And along those same lines, I would put Grady Hendrix. I instant buy his stuff. He's from South Carolina, where I lived and grew up for a long time. And so it's fun to read his stuff because all of his like local references really land for me. That kind of feels like coming home, which is cool. I think the trickiest thing about his stuff for me is he keeps replacing my favorite with the next thing he writes. So initially it was Horror Store, which if you haven't seen, very cool cover. It's made to look like an IKEA catalog. The book is also good. However, I did recommend it to a friend who said the form factor, because it was that larger form factor of something like an IKEA catalog, was just very uncomfortable for her to read. So if you prefer, standard book, size book, then maybe not that one for you, or maybe, like get it on your Kindle or something like that. But let's see. Yeah, that was the first one. And then that was replaced by My Best Friend's Exorcism. There's a movie of that one. It's okay. It's not completely true to the book. And I have like vibes about that. Like they need to stand separately. And I think it does stand separately. Kind of some fun casting in it. And then that one was replaced again by the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. And that one was my favorite. I was like, I'm done. I'm never going to read a book by Grady Hendrix that is better than this one. I love this one. It landed for me for some reason. And then How to Sell a Haunted House came out. And Overall, for Grady Hendrix, I would say definitely gives like grown up Fear Street vibes. And I don't know, maybe he would be super offended by me saying that, but I don't kind of don't think so because I don't, that feel Grady Hendrix, if you're listening, I love your work, and that is meant as the deepest, most heartfelt compliment. End of speech. But I what I will say is I think the reason that How to Sell a Haunted House came so far higher up top for me was it is very rare for me to have a visceral reaction from books. It's very hard for a book to make me cry. It is very hard for a book to make me laugh out loud. That one's much easier than crying, but still. And this book gave me such a strong visceral reaction for this one plot point that my I was outside reading and our neighbor's like, "You okay over there?" But yeah, I don't want to spoil it. All I will say is pointy object, eyeball, bleh. It was a lot. It was so much. So also that's also a compliment. If a book can actually get like a real serious reaction out of me, like more power to you. You have found my ick bone and you have figured out how to make the ick happen. So fabulous. Um, Moving on, we actually just talked about when I did my last current next about Otessa Moshfegh, because I had just finished a reread of My Year of Rest and Relaxation. She's another instant buy for me. I like I said, I really enjoyed that book. In that video, I mentioned that I enjoyed that book the second time around because I really got a chance to get more into the writing instead of like the mood and the vibe of the book itself. I loved being able to really sink my teeth into the writing on that one. And then number 10, I'm finishing up. I'm getting close. If you're like, ready to go get your snack, we're super close to getting snack and tea time. So this last one that I want to talk about for today is Agostina Basterga. Another instant buy for me. The first book that I read by her, and all of her stuff. You Do Have to Wait. She's an Argentinian author. So if you are English as your primary language or English as your only language, then we do have to wait for the translations to come out. But Tender is the Flesh was my intro to her stuff. And since then, I've gotten a ton of people hooked on her stuff. Interestingly, the original title of that was Exquisite Corpse, but there is a novel, Exquisite Corpse, that was an English first novel by a different author. I'm actually not certain. I know that author has a what is either a dead name or a pen name, so I don't want to misspeak here, but you can look it up. The title of the book is Exquisite Corpse, and it is also a fabulous read. Very gruesome, very dark, very ick. If you are not here for any of those things, I mean, don't even read the blurb because it's gonna be like maybe too much for you. I really, really enjoyed that one. So I thought it was really interesting that the original title of Tender is the Flesh and that book were the same. But yeah, I read it. I definitely one-dayed that one. I got my husband hooked on her stuff. I got a coworker hooked on their stuff. I got a coworker's partner hooked on their stuff. Like just super, super good. The other ones that are available in English so far, there is a collection of short stories called 19 Claws and a Blackbird, which is very good. I loved every single story in that collection. I would be hard pressed to rank them if you wanted me to. I think that would probably wreck my week. So don't ask. And then The Unworthy. And honestly, I think The Unworthy might be my favorite now. I really, really enjoyed it. I kind of felt like I knew where Tender is the Flesh was going to go. And I loved that because even though it knew where I was going to go, her writing kept pulling me along. And I kind of kept hoping that it wouldn't go where where I thought it was going to go. And so I thought that was the magic of that book. With The Unworthy, I really didn't know where it was going to go. And so that was the magic of that one, was just no idea. This is such a cool journey. And where are we going to end up? And oh my gosh. And so I would say yeah, out of all the books that I listed there or just talked about, I would say that one is like the most magic out of all of those for me that I have felt recently, that just really made me go like, whew. I mean, like I'm a writer, but I am not that kind of writer. Like, and I will never, never that kind of writer. It's just so good. They're yeah, it's a gift, man. You know, you got it. You don't. I write paranormal romance. I'm not writing this stuff, so it's a whole different ball game. And you know what? That's okay, because I love to read just as much as I love to write, and God, I love to read good writing. So these are my favorite writers of right now. Ask me again in a week. It'll be 10 different ones. But if you've stuck around this long, who are your favorite writers? Do you like any of the ones I just talked about? Is there somebody I need to check out that I didn't mention? Books that these authors have written that I didn't talk about that are your favorite? Whatever it is, hit me up, comment, talk at me, meet me, whatever. I don't know. What are we doing on the internets these days? You tell me. Okay, guess what? I promised it would be snack time and you could even get a tea. And so that's what time it is. That's what time it is for me. I'm definitely going to go get a tea and some snacks because it's time. Okay, cool. And then what else do I have to say? Oh yeah. Cheers and happy reading until next time. Bye.